She just called me, as you know, and she asked for an extension on the June 1st date. And she said she wants to get down to serious negotiation because I've told you specifically, haven't I told anybody that would listen? That was the date she requested. Could we move it from June 1st to July 9th? And I agreed to do that. And that she said we will rapidly get together and see if we can work something out.
So these negotiations are complex, and so they are taking time. Now, with this call, there's now also a new impetus.
When Boeing walks away from America, you know something's deeply broken. The aerospace giant's retreat exposes the devastating cost of Trump-era tariffs and the myth of America First economics. The immediate effects were catastrophic. Boeing stated late Friday night that it would lay off more than 14,000 employees from its plants in Missouri, South Carolina, and Washington. The firm alleged unworkable economic conditions caused by levies on globally sourced critical aviation components. Boeing executives are now looking for alternatives as a result of the tariffs, which have raised production costs and disrupted supply lines while being portrayed by the Trump administration as a measure to restore American economic independence. We have always prioritized American workers and innovation, but the current trade environment no longer supports sustainable operations here at home, said Dave Calhoun, CEO of Boeing, in a brief but powerful statement. We must make decisions in order to ensure the long-term viability of the business. Sources close to the matter express internal annoyance and disbelief at what many in the sector see as a risky political ploy, despite the statement's polite tone. The tariffs in question impose significant duties on imported materials such as titanium, aluminum alloys, and avionics systems, components used by Boeing and other American aerospace companies.
They have to do that, and we had a very nice call, and I agreed to move it. I believe June 9th would be, July 9th would be the date.
And to stay in close contact. We are talking about, of course, the world's single largest and closest trading relation.
That was the date she requested. Could we move it from June 1st to July 9th? And I agreed to do that. And that she said we will rapidly get together and see if we can work something out.
Well, it was a good call, indeed, as was also noted in the social media post by President von der Leyen.
To build everything from commercial jets to military aircraft, and were passed by Congress with strong support from Trump supporters. According to estimates, the cost increases caused by these levies have raised Boeing's financial sheet by billions of dollars, at a time when the company is still reeling from the grounding of the 737 MAX line and following legal fights over safety problems. The symbolic importance of Boeing's departure is what exacerbates the problem. For decades, both conservatives and nationalists have praised Boeing as proof that the United States leads the world in high-skilled, high-tech production. In 2017, Trump toured Boeing factories and praised the company as a shining example of Made in America. However, that story is now in ruins, as the firm has relocated a significant percentage of its production to plants in Brazil, Canada, and India. According to industry sources, the decision was not taken lightly, but given the financial circumstances, it was unavoidable. There was an immediate political backlash. Democrats took advantage of the moment to accuse Trump and his followers of prioritizing catchphrases over American jobs. Senator Elizabeth Warren said, "This is what happens when you govern with a fist and a tweet." Isolating the American business does not make it stronger.
She just called me, as you know, and she asked for an extension on the June 1st date. And she said she wants to get down to serious negotiation because I've told you specifically, haven't I told anybody that would listen?
And confirmed by President Trump himself when he spoke to the press yesterday. So basically, they agreed both to fast-track the trade negotiations for the negotiations, and we will take it from there. It's positive to see that there's engagement also at the level of the president.
Placing employees on the unemployment line does not protect them. Meanwhile, moderate Republicans privately expressed their concerns but refrained from publicly criticizing Trump for fear of hurting his supporters ahead of the primaries. Already, the human cost is being felt. Notices of termination have been mailed to employees in North Charleston, Wichita, and Renton. Local news agencies aired footage of devastated workers bidding farewell to colleagues with whom they had spent their entire careers and taking away decades-old toolkits. According to one employee, Angela Martinez, "My father worked at Boeing. Boeing is where I worked. My kid is currently getting laid off. 3 generations were gone with one announcement. And for what purpose?" Experts warn that this is probably only the beginning. Other multinational corporations may be encouraged to follow Boeing's approach, especially those in industries that rely heavily on global supply chains, such as automobiles, semiconductors, and renewable energy. There is currently fear about a possible cascade of events in which Trump's protectionist tariffs not only fail to keep jobs in the country, but also accelerate offshore at a rate unprecedented since the 1990s. There were mixed messages from Wall Street.
So these negotiations are complex, and so they are taking time. Now, with this call, there's now also a new impetus.
U.S. President Donald Trump says he will pause a 50% tariff on goods from the European Union until July 9th to buy time for negotiations.
After investors realized the decision could help the company avoid further losses in the short term, Boeing stock recovered slightly after falling during pre-market trading. However, when markets assessed the implications of a major American firm exiting the domestic economy, the Dow Jones fell by more than 300 points. Some investors described the incident as a vote of no confidence in American industrial strategy. For its part, the White House has attempted to downplay the news. A spokeswoman described Boeing's decision as an isolated instance and accused the media of exaggerating the consequences. In an early morning Truth Social post, Trump defended the tariffs, saying, "We don't need weak companies who can't stand up for America. Allow Boeing to operate internationally if they so wish. Without them, we will build stronger and better American aircraft." However, significant harm has already been done to a great number of Americans. The future is uncertain for cities that have previously relied on Boeing for economic stability. While unions prepare for a surge in unemployment claims and legal challenges, local leaders urge the federal government to provide emergency aid. This event may ultimately be viewed as a watershed moment rather than a policy disaster, a reminder that words cannot replace strategy and that even the titans of American industry will not stand still in the face of economic sabotage masquerading as patriotism. With Boeing's departure, a myth may be dispelled and a reckoning may begin.